it's funny because I have an autobiography coming out, and I talked about what it was like being a young woman. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the 60s, and how I entered the world on my own, and how I wanted to live it on my terms. And I wanted the freedom and the civil liberties that any man had, because I watched my mother's generation and my grandmother's generation, and because I'm from a Sicilian descent, the whole generation before us, all those people have been more than objectified. They've been derailed in their life. I went to one thing where there was books that were just found that women wrote because they weren't allowed to write in Sicily, to write about any of the things that went on. There's one book that I read behind the back door. It was a Freedom Press thing. But there's, to me, there has to be a joyful way of dealing with this. And the one thing that you have to remember, regardless of what people or the society takes from you, you have to stand up. You can't let somebody take your joy. I learned that there's little things that are magical all around you every day that are happening. When the big things don't happen, there's little things. And maybe it's just a little, dragonfly that lands next to you. And there's something about dragonflies that look like fairy to me. And so I view that as a magical moment. And maybe you see a bird doing something and you say, wow, I was so busy, I didn't see that. That's pretty great. It's the same thing you tell little kids. Don't forget to watch what's around you, because whatever you focus on is what will happen more of, If you keep focusing on the negative, then more negative will come. Right. You can't, not say things that have happened. Even in my book, I'm nervous now because I talked about things that happened. A similar interview, but it didn't go your way. It didn't go like it went with you. Mine went really square shape. And I was a kid. I was 17.
So I think women are objectified every day for many times a day, sometimes, and we don't even recognize it. And one of the things that I think is really important is talking about them. And I think your book actually is going to be very helpful, even though you're anxious about maybe saying too much or revealing too much. But when women who have never talked, and I can tell you every day I have some kind of male-female interaction that's inappropriate. And I counter that by my success and my own empowerment. But the fact that women can start talking about it frees them of this kind of thing that you get used to and you accept, like your Sicilian grandparents or your grandmother who accepted away. Now, if she could have been free of it, her opportunities of empowerment could have been much greater. And
my mom, too. I mean, when they told me, think of what girls just want to have fun could mean when they first presented it to me, I thought of my mom and my grandmother and my Aunt Grace. And I said, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this the right way. And when I did that video long time ago, I made sure every race I could think of that I see every day in New York was in that video, so that every girl who saw it would know that she was entitled to be joyful and have fun and be a free spirit. Because that's within us, that is that free spirit, is something you cherish and you don't stamp out, and you don't let anybody stamp that out. I mean, I guess if a lot of bad things happen to you, something always snaps, and all of a sudden you become the idiot who is free, because the fool sometimes is the free guy. because you're not thinking about it anymore, and it's not like you don't acknowledge things that happen to you. I think for women, you got to make a stand. Having a son now, what I see in the world is that the schools are geared more towards girls.
Oh, really?
And they're not geared towards boys.
Really?
And when they say they're geared towards boys, they're basically full of shit, because they're geared towards bankers and what they see boys as they're supposed to be, and control, not really embracing the boy's spirit. I saw this when my kid was growing up. We took our kid out of New York City because we wanted the kid to be a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't leave a lot of room for that here. And you have to prostrate yourself to get the kid in the school and blah, 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 blah. And after a while, if you think something's wrong, you can't say anything because, they'll write it down. It's the mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to think, you're damn right it's the mother. You're damn right I'm going to say something. So I just thought, okay, instead of fighting, recalculate, And then as I became an older woman, I realized that I spent a lot of time fighting, when if you just take a step back, it's just like painting.
And recalculate. That's good. Recalculate is a perfect.
Get around this motherfucker.
Yeah, no, it's really
basically.
good. It's good.
Get around him.
Yeah.
Don't deal with him. That person is stuck in their bullshit.
Mm.
Why do you have to jump in the vat with them?
Mm.
Take a step back, sidestep.
And that comes with maturity, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
because I got into it all the time because I'm
yeah.
such an idiot. And I still do idiotic things. I say inappropriate things sometimes. My behavior isn't always fantastic under stress, and it's always the same thing. It's like yoga. How many times you're going to be doing the upward, downward dog before you can do it right? It's like the rest of your freaking life, See, when I became a parent, the one thing I recognized was that the way you really change the world, if you're going to have a kid, is you try and explain to your kid what's going on. They're the people who are going to make the world their world. And what kind of world that's going to be is what your relationship is with your kid.
And how
which
you
is
demonstrate.
But ever challenging.
Yeah.
But you can't give up.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't give up on anything else, the one thing you don't give up on is your kids.
First of all, Cyndi, I just know that the next year is going to be all about you and
Really?
everything
I
you're
hope
doing.
so.
And your kind of talent doesn't go away. And we both have reinvented ourselves a million times. But this invention, this reinvention, this seeing you again in a fit that I think is extraordinary will be so exciting.
Well, thank you so much.